hope that you're well. Welcome back to another video. So in this video, we're going to carry on doing the same sort of breakdowns of the blueprint edge, where I'll show you executions of the actual algo taking the trade. But obviously, anything that algo takes, you can take manually, but it just shows you a breakdown of how you can execute as well. So let's just crack on with it. And we've had a great response from the previous few videos, especially where it's showing you full-on breakdowns and showing you executions of the algo as well, for those of you who are on the fence about whether the algo is for you or not. But as I said, if you're enjoying the edge and you understand how the edge functions, this is ideal for you, purely because it allows you to trade the system without actually having to manually trade the system, if that is for you. If you can manually trade, carry on manually trading. It's whatever works best for you. The options are there. Anyway, so this is GU, and this is on the 17th of April. So coming into session. So let's just get straight to it. We will eventually have a sweep. So in this case, there was no sweep here, that was on level. But we have a valid sweep here, as you can see, and then a clean entry, and then it eventually goes and hits our take profit. But as you can see, when price hits our system, our rules in terms of our break-even rule, we move our stop loss to break even. And this is something that, again, when you're manually trading, you're going to have to monitor to be able to do that, or set alerts. I mean, we've all been there. I've been there, where you have to do it and you don't always have the time to do it, but that does it all automatically for you. So coming into the session, what we have is okay, so coming into session, what we have is a sweep here, which means that we're obviously looking to go long. Very simple. So coming into session, we have a sweep, invalidation, we have a sweep, invalidation. In this case, we have a sweep, but this case, we have two sweeps of this range, which is where price gets entered. So we have a major and minor sweep, and then we look to go long here with our stop loss below the low, which is there, and then in this case is a 5-hour target, which is here, and then as we know, it eventually hits. Something else to mention is when price is reversing back like this, something that when you're manually trading is that when price reverts back like this, a lot of people start closing out when price starts doing this. However, when you're using the algo, you have no choice really. You just have to let the system run, and it allows you to trust the system more when you are just letting it go, and you don't have to watch. Like this trade was taken and I was occupied. I wasn't even looking at I don't even look at the charts, to be fair, in live time. I look back just quickly to see if anything changes in terms of fractals, if just purely for the purpose of these videos or for the Discord, just to have an idea as to what happened live, but I don't actively have to monitor anything. This all does it for me. So that's the biggest benefit and the pros and cons between manual and algo. But again, it's choosing what is best for you. So let's move on to the next trade.
So you've seen all the YouTube videos. With the right guidance, you have seen how quickly you can learn the edge. You've also seen live manual and algo executions of the edge. And for those of you who haven't joined either the algo or the Discord, still have questions like this. So what I've done now is I've created a PDF that covers every single aspect of the edge, from bias to entry to invalidation, as well as trade management. And that's all in one file. All you need to do is scroll down to the bottom of the page, click the link, and download your file now.
But the next trade we have is USDCAD. So let's just go into New York, which we eventually have. So we had a few losses in London on this one, and then we jump into New York. This is a very straightforward trade where we come straight into the session, very clean entry, and a straight TP in a few minutes. So let's crack on with this. So what we can see here is coming into the session, the last thing that happened was a sweep of the high, and then we have obviously our bias to go short, nothing else in between, and then obviously we're looking to go sell until we get a fractal low sweep, which means we're looking to go buy at that point. Now in this case, coming straight into the session, we have a sweep here, sweeping candle, refinement candle, entry candle, very simple, stop loss above the high, and then we have our target. Now this is the case of showing you again why we look to trade certain sessions. The sessions aren't picked by random and the timings aren't picked by random. These are all based on high liquidity periods, which is very well known. It's just a case of catching a trade where you have the most amount of liquidity so you can have the highest rate of return possible for capturing these kind of moves. Like compare it to swing trading where you can get 3 to 5R or maybe more on swing trading based on that, based on your edge, sorry. You can be waiting weeks. So I used to swing trade and I'd be swing trading like 4 or 5 weeks at a time, but that was purely because for me at the time I was not able to watch the charts as much as I am now, for example. Whereas with this, you're catching the same risk to reward but in a short amount of space. But yeah, it can't really get as simple, any easier than this. And this is the purpose of having this edge. It's not the case of the edge being that the edge is easy and simple to replicate. However, it doesn't mean that the edge is not, what's the word? It's hard to compare an edge where there's more technicals to it. Whereas in this case, the amount of the data that went behind it, the systems and the theory behind this is so complex to create such an easy system to replicate. Just because it's easy to execute doesn't mean that it's a simple edge. And if anything, it makes no difference. Your goal at the end of the day is to execute and extract what you can from the markets. That's what we're trying to do. It's not about having the most technical edge. It's not about capturing the highest risk rewards possible. It's about finding something that you can consistently use and easily use to execute to withdraw from the market. That is your goal. And 3 to 5R is more than enough per session, per day, per week. Even for some trading accounts per month is more than enough. Let's move on to the next trade. So the next trade we're looking at is AUDUSD, and this is on the 16th of April, and we're looking at London session. So coming straight in. I mean, this was straight away where we have a sweep, trigger, and then we're coming straight in. And this one plays around for a little bit, similar to the next trade that we'll see on GU, where it lingers and then it eventually goes and hits our take profit. So coming into this, and something actually that we'll see is, so let me just mark this out. So coming in, obviously with high gets taken, so we're looking to go short. Nothing else happens after that. We do have a sweep of this low, so we're looking to go long, but at this point we're already in the short. So coming into session, we're obviously looking to go short. Now, in this case, what you can see, oh gosh, okay. Coming into session, what you can see is straight away, we have a perfectly valid sweep, sweeping candle, refinement candle, then entry. Now, in this case, what we have is a long candle here that actually forms the entry. Now, when you are manual trading, it's very hard to get an entry as exact as this. That is the purpose of the algo, where it creates these entries where it takes them as precisely as possible, which is very hard humanly, even with a good trade manager. It's very hard to get an entry as exact as this. It's almost impossible. Whereas in this case, it's because it's a bot doing it, there's no way you can really get anything wrong unless there's slippage, which does happen, of course. But what we have here is very, very simple and clean trade. Again, this is a position where people tend to close their trades purely because of this reversal. People think they've lost. They're probably thinking, why don't I move to break even? Or start moving to break even during this move, and then they miss out on this huge, I think it's a huge 5R trade. That is the problem when you manually trade and you're watching the charts. Whereas obviously if you're allowing the system to do it for you, you just have to wait for the end of session and then review how your session went. Let's move on to the last trade. The last trade that we have is on GU, and this is again on the 16th of April. So we come into the session and we're looking to go short. So we have a clean sweep and then we have a trigger straight away, which we'll see soon. And then we go ahead and go for our target. This is similar to AU, where it lingers around and then it eventually hits TP. Again, it's the same situation where we have similar to AU, as you just saw, sweep of the high. We're looking to go short. Just be aware of any sessional bias changes. Coming into the session itself, what you can see here is a very simple sweep, sweeping candle, refinement candle, trigger candle, and then entry. Now, why I left it here is, I was explaining to someone how the difference when you manually trade and an algo trade is that algo will get to take it here, and then the manual trading will be somewhere like here, which means that your TP has to be a lot longer in comparison to when you algo trade. Now, because the targets is based on a statistics of how much price moves per session and how much it moves for a certain session and for some pairs, you have to be aware of sometimes if you extend your stop loss if your stop loss is extended and then you take profit is it also extended, it may mean that you may miss certain moves because of that difference change. Now, obviously, because we have the risk management in play with the algo, even if that it does happen with the algo, where sometimes you may get slipped in your entry, which means your stop loss is a bit longer than normal, we do have our profit loss system that will secure the trade depending on how much it moves. So even if it moves by like a pip or so, the difference isn't big enough for you to not maximize your return with that profit loss system. Whereas if you're manually trading, you're gonna have to manually watch it and then manually do the profit log if that's something that you want to do in terms of risk management. But this again is showing you breakdowns of how clear and how simple the edge is. As I mentioned previously, is just because the edge comes across as simple and effective doesn't mean that the edge has a simple background. It's a very technical and theoretical background to it. It's just made simple because the idea again is to extract what you can from the markets as easily and consistently as possible. It's not about having the prettiest charts. It's not about being the most technical. It's not about working the hardest, if it's as such. Because I mean, everyone wants to have a system where you can execute without having much effort thinking. It's not that but it's not trying to take away from the effort that it requires learning the edge. I mean, the edge is very simple to obviously learn, but it's also trying to show you what is possible for those of you who cannot or aren't able to grasp full-on technical trading. Like I wasn't personally. I needed something simple and easy to execute. That is the whole reason why I've gone down the mechanical route, and this is the whole reason why Vertex is probably, if not the only mechanical trading educators out there. Like there's no other, I don't think there's any other systems or any other teams out there that would show you how effective a mechanical edge can be as rule-based as this. You probably see rule-based trading out everywhere. I mean, I've seen it across. However, you go ahead and try and start learning and you realize there's there's a little bit of discretion to it, or there's certain bit of technical analysis which would differ your results from whoever's teaching you. Whereas in this case, a lot of you should be taking the same trades as I'm showing you in this video, just because the edge is so strict, the rules are so strict that you cannot stray from it. It's impossible. That's the whole basis behind why I created the system, and the whole basis why I created Vertex is to provide that system for you based on my own interpretations and based on my own interpretations of what I've learned over the years, over the last 10 plus years even now. But anyway, I will leave you be. I hope you enjoyed this breakdown. Of course, be sure to click the link in the description below if you want to learn the full rule set of the edge. And of course, if you're interested in the algo and you have questions, feel free to message us on the live chat or on WhatsApp, whatever is easy for you, or even on even via email, whatever is easy for you if you have any questions. Apart from that, I will see you all in the next video, which will hopefully be at some point this week.